Hi there, and welcome to Mindfulness Practice with Paul Sugar today. By the way, if you ever miss any of the live streaming or you want to go back and revisit any of them, I've posted the YouTube link. All of the live streams are archived there, so just go back there and you can re-practice with me anytime that you like. Today, we'll start out with our 15-second mindfulness smile, and then we'll go into our 2-minute mindful breath. And after that, I'll give an introduction to today's 8-minute mindfulness practice. So let's start with the mindful smile, which is combining mindfulness practice and smiling, which has been shown to be a great benefit to helping us feel better and reduce stress. When we do the smile, we simply scan our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, and our breath, bringing that smile completely into the present moment experience. So big smile for 15 seconds. Scanning the internal experience of the smile. Okay, good smiling. Next, we'll begin our mindful breath. So we can do this in any position you like, just finding a comfortable position. It can be sitting. If you're sitting, just sitting up straight, lining up the head, the neck, and the spine, or you can be lying down or standing or even walking. And so bringing our attention to the breath as we breathe in and out through the nose. You can also do this with your eyes open, closed, or glancing down. Whatever works best for you. I like to encourage creativity and imagination with all the mindfulness practices. So breathing. Connecting to the present moment through the breath, through the body. When we connect more deeply to the body, it lowers our stress levels and helps to make the system run much more smoothly, much more efficiently. Breathing, fully experiencing each breath. As we breathe in through the nose, noticing the movement of the belly. As the breath rolls up into the upper torso and the shoulders, and then it rolls back down again for another cycle. Staying with the breath. Connecting to the body through the breath, the body being that doorway into the present moment experience. If it's helpful, every once in a while, you can say silently to yourself, breathing. Sometimes that helps to keep the attention in the present moment. Staying with the breath. When the attention wanders somewhere else, just take note of where it goes to, and then bringing the attention back to the breath. That coming and going of attention builds up the mindful muscle, which allows us to go deeper into the present moment, into our practice. Okay, the mindful breath. And now moving on to our 8-minute practice for today. The other day, we borrowed an image from nature. It was a mountain, and we used the mountain to go on a mindful vacation. And the difference between guided visualization, imagery, and things like that, and how we do it mindfully is that the traditional way of doing guided imagery is to go somewhere else, to use your imagination to kind of, let's say, go to the beach on Hawaii and experience whatever comes up there, which is always a very pleasant way to experience things. But with mindfulness, rather than going away and disconnecting from the body to experience these things, we actually identify with the image and we bring it into our bodies to the point where we assume that particular image ourselves and we become it. So it seems like a minor difference, but it's a really big difference because we're bringing the experience right into our body, into our inner experience. And so we don't have to disconnect that way and go somewhere else, like go to our happy place. We can do this and create the happy place right inside of our bodies so that we don't have to go anywhere to experience that. We can stay right here, be right here, and always have it at our access whenever we want. And so the image that we'll borrow from nature today is a lake. And so the other day, using the mountain, we kind of connected with the earth element. And today we're going to connect with the water element using the image of a lake. And so I'll guide you through the process. And one of the many advantages of doing this is that it helps us to bring to the surface all those great qualities of mindfulness that we value so much. And I'll also guide that process as well as we're going through this lake experience. And now you can do this lake visualization in the body, either with your eyes open or closed. Usually most people feel like the eyes closed is better. There are fewer distractions that way. A lot of people like to lie down when they're doing the lake practice, but it can also be done sitting. So whatever you feel is going to work best for you, just tapping into your imagination and creativity and figuring out what's going to work for you. So if you want to lie down, I'll just give you a second or two to get into that position. Okay, and then beginning the lake practice, we'll use our imagination and creativity to come up with an image of a lake. And that image is actually going to be inside of our bodies. And rather than just using imagery and visualization, we're also going to engage all the other senses. So we'll be experiencing this lake with imagery and visualization, also with our sense of smell, sense of hearing, sense of touch, all 5 senses of sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. And just letting that image of the lake open up to you on the inside as you notice what your particular lake looks like. And everybody's lake is going to be a little bit different. And just identifying with the lake. Letting ourselves feel with the lake and noticing, what does the lake feel like? Also noticing the surrounding area. Are there trees around the lake? What kind of growth is there in plants and flowers around the lake? What's up above? What does the sky look like today? And just letting us settle into what it feels like to become that lake. Just becoming the lake. And sensing the water. Is the water cold, or is it warm, or maybe something in between? Are there waves on the lake? Is the wind blowing? Using all five senses to create this experience. Smelling the area around the lake. Water has a particular smell, particularly when it interacts with nature, with the ground, with the growth around the lake. What does the water feel like when you touch it? Can you hear anything with the lake? And even tasting the water. Does the water perhaps taste refreshing? Noticing how the earth cradles the lake. The lake is just letting go and allowing itself to be held and cradled by the earth, actually being part of the earth. And then as we gaze upward, we notice the sky. If the sun's out, perhaps, or if it's in the evening, maybe you see the stars and the moon. And noticing how the reflection on the water reflects the sky, however it is, whether they're stars being reflected, or the moon, or the sun, or clouds. So noticing how part of us is held by the earth, and the other part is reflecting the sky. And also noticing how from time to time there might be ripples on the water. And even though the water changes constantly, the water itself also stays the same. So there's always a part of us that's changing, but there's also always a part of us that stays the same, that essential beingness of us. And just identifying, making friends with both of those qualities. Fully experiencing the lake. And also noticing that even though from time to time the surface of the lake may get choppy, as sometimes our minds do, when we go deep down into the lake, we notice that everything is quiet and that choppiness goes away. And it's the same thing with our practice, our mindfulness practice. Even though on the surface we may experience choppiness from time to time, if we go deeply into our practice and we notice that there's calm and stillness, always accessible to us. Experiencing how these two things coexist, the constant changing and the part that doesn't change. Water is a very strong element, in fact, much stronger than rock. Water wears away rock. And water also always returns to its natural form, regardless of the choppiness that may come from time to time. It always comes back and reassumes its natural form, its stillness, its ability to reflect accurately everything that's going on around it. During choppy times, that reflection might not be very accurate, but during the still times, That reflection is a complete duplicate, a perfect reflection of everything around it on the earth and above in the sky. Just continuing to feel with the lake. Using all five senses as we allow those qualities of the present moment to connect to our present moment experience. That receptivity, that acceptance, that accurate reflection when things are still, that changeability and yet that comfort with staying the same. All these qualities that we value in our experience. Feeling with the lake, staying connected to the qualities of the lake, which help to connect us to our mindfulness practice, to the present moment. The lake is always present. Everything in nature is always present. And now, as we say goodbye to our lake, we know that we can return there anytime we want. And so just letting go of our experience, of all five senses, letting go of the visualization, the seeing, letting go of the taste and the smell and the hearing and the touch. And just letting that recede into the distance as we reconnect with our body as it is in this moment. And just checking in, taking inventory, moving the attention around the body, noticing the feet and the arms, the hands and the shoulders, the torso, hips, pelvis, buttocks, the head, the neck, and just fully connecting with the body as we are most familiar with it. Focusing the attention on the breath. As we fully connect to the body. Each time we connect more deeply with the body, we're lowering our stress levels. Getting into those flow states and giving ourselves the opportunity to really experience our human potential. How deeply we can experience life. And now opening the eyes, if they're not already open, and continuing to keep the attention right here in the present moment, using the body as our connecting point. Fully embodied. And just feeling with the body, maybe noticing our energy level right now. Building that seamless transition between our meditation practice that we just did with the lake and our everyday activity. Opening the eyes at the end of a meditation is a great way of creating that transition, that smooth transition, and bringing the skills from the meditation practice, the ability to pay attention moment by moment, bringing those skills into our daily activity so that we can experience the present moment 24/7, not just when we're meditating. We want to be able to experience it 24/7. And that little skill of just opening the eyes at the end of the practice, at the end of the meditation, really helps to facilitate that. All right. That was a fun practice. And we have a couple minutes now. If anybody has a question or wants to make a comment regarding today's practice or anything in general about mindfulness. Hey, Miriam, all the way from Argentina. Wow, cool. Nice to be with you today. Shari Lee and David, Larry. All right, so here comes a question. Somebody wants to know if mindfulness can help to fine-tune the intuition. It's an interesting question. So give me a moment to think about that. Well, what we know is that everybody seems to value intuition. I guess if we break down the word intuition, we could see that it really means inner learning. Tuition meaning learning, and of course the in. And so I know a lot of us value intuition as far as that little voice on the inside, that little prompt on the inside that perhaps gives us insight on what to do from moment to moment. And so mindfulness, yes, mindfulness does fine-tune the intuition. I'll give you an analogy about this. If you can imagine a radio station. Of course, nowadays, when we turn on the radio, you just push a button and it goes right to the station that you want it to go to. Back in the old days, we had knobs where we had to look to tune the station. And if we weren't right on that station, we would be getting static and we wouldn't really be hearing very clearly what was going on that particular radio station. So perhaps maybe it's also not getting very good reception. So it could be a combination of bad reception and not being right there on the channel. So what mindfulness does is it creates that connection, and it also tunes the radio so that it's right on the channel, and so you can get all the information coming from the radio in a very clear, concise, and accurate way. As we all know, even though we like to rely on intuition, it's not always completely accurate, and sometimes it leads us in the wrong direction. So whatever we can do to fine-tune the intuition so that what we get regarding information is accurate and can be relied upon, that's a good thing. So I would say that mindfulness is that mechanism, that skill that allows us to tune our radio so that it's right there on the station and we're getting accurate information coming from that radio channel. So yes, mindfulness does fine-tune intuition. And I've discovered that myself over the many years of my practice. And I've also spoken to many other people who have had the same experience, who notice that their intuition becomes very fine-tuned as they continue to practice and go deeper into the present moment experience. Deborah and Scott, nice to see you. You didn't know I could see you through the computer, did you? All right, so it looks like we're at the end of our time for today. And here every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. Arizona time for 20, 25 minutes or so. I've also posted on the message board the link to my YouTube channel so that if you want to go back and revisit any of the practices that we do together, you can do that anytime. They're all archived right there. So it was great being with you today, and I'll look forward to getting together with you next Tuesday. So have a great weekend and be in the moment. So we'll finish up with that 15-second mindful smile. And so scanning our body with the smile. So 15 seconds, big smile, as big as you can. Sensing the experience, noticing how the smile affects our bodies, thoughts, emotions, and breath. All righty then. See you next time.